Hello everybody, my name is Zach, aka the Weather Gamer, bringing you Week 9 APA Indigo League. Chicago Beartics taking on it's Awesome Altaria and the Houston Tynamos. That's it. So, I am post-commentating. I did live comment this match, but Dum here forgot to turn on his mic again. So I'm having to post-comment because of my mic not being on. Anyways, we see Registeel, Gliscor, Blastoise, Thundy, Hitmonlee, and Laios. Kind of surprised I don't see Masquerain here to set up his Sticky Webs. Claydol is still going to be my lead here because I can get up rocks, and if he wants to trade rocks with me with his Registeel, I'll just spin mine away. You also can't keep Registeel in because I'd threaten it with Earth Power. Even though it's super defensive, Earth Power still chunks it. Ninetales and no Mega Camera Up too, which was something else we were prepping pretty good for. Seeing that Hitmonlee instead. Definitely, once Registeel goes down, we can break this team pretty fast with Darmanitan, with basically the four you see on the right. We can pretty much break this team down. So definitely glad to not see Mega Camerupt, and again, once that Registeel goes down, we're set. So I go ahead, I do lead Claydol, he leads Gliscor, and so again, I freely get rocks up here unless he wants to defog them away with Gliscor. Gliscor can't really touch me that much, so he goes into Cannonball, the Blastoise, ice up the Stealth Rocks. I go into Volcanion, knowing that this thing is probably going to drop a Hydro or a Scald, Water-type move of some sort. It's not Mega Blastoise, it's Standard Blastoise. It's going to drop a Water-type move on me, and Volcanion can absorb that and then threaten back. We see the Water Spout here, I absorb that. He switches out. The switch here, I didn't catch it at the time when I was live commenting, but he's Scarfed. He is Scarfed Blastoise. I didn't catch that. I figured he just switched into Latios because he didn't want to take an HP Electric or something. Or he wasn't carrying a move that could hurt me. But it turns out he's Scarfed. I should have realized that. I do Steam Eruption. I go into Muck here. He Earthquakes. Now this was beautiful. I should have gone, instead of Muck here, I should have gone into Claydol and then threatened with D-Gleam and put some damage on that way. Instead, he EQs, takes me down to 56%. He EQs again, and I go ahead and Pursuit. Pursuit was a iffy play there. It was kind of a mid-ground play for me. I thought he might switch, so I was going to try and Pursuit Trap the switch into Gliscor. Honestly, I should have just knocked off instead. Knock off would have killed this thing, and I wouldn't have had to switch here. Knockoff was definitely the play. This is another example of me being a rookie and misplaying. Knockoff, I had no reason not to knock off. I do avoid that. He brings in Gliscor. I'm going to go ahead and D-Gleam just to threaten. I do see he is not Poison Heal Toxic Orb, so he's got to be something else. For an ability, carrying a different item, so definitely knocking off the item would have been great. He goes ahead and defogs, gets rid of my rocks. I D-Gleam again, chipping him. He's going to Roost, so I went for Stealth Rocks again because I wanted to force him. In that situation, I wanted to force him to have to keep defogging so I could keep chipping him, because once I got Gliscor down to where it was within one hit of Dazzling Gleam, he'd be forced to Roost. I'd set up my rocks again when he... or I'd D-Gleam when he'd Roost, take him down to 50%. If he tries to defog my rocks, I'd D-Gleam, he's back down to 25%. And basically, it'd go into a situation where I start stalling out his Roosts and forcing him to defog my Stealth Rocks away. And that's kind of where we go here. He defogs. I go ahead and D-Gleam, does 24%. He switches into Thundy. I have no reason not to Stealth Rock and keep that cycle going. He Dark Pulses, and he flinches. And that flinch does matter for the residual damage that I was trying to get on this thing. I was going to hit it with... I was D-Gleaming again, so I would have hit with the D-Gleam, and then I was going to get Claydol out of there and go into Muck or Lycanroc. Because Lycanroc, Excel Rock Choice Band would have killed this thing after a D-Gleam. Instead, he flinches me. He Dark Pulses again. At that point, I figured, okay, well, I now safely cannot switch into Muck and let him Nasty Plot or drop a Tailwind. We're going to give up Stealth Rocks here, and that forcing that Gliscor. We've got Rocks up. We've at least forced chip damage on everything until the Gliscor comes in again. If he knocks this thing out, I go into Ninetales, so Gliscor can't come in right away anyways, and so I can at least get some chip on that Registeel and whatever. So I stay in, and D-Gleam does 29%, so definitely had I not flinched there. I think what happened here too was he max rolled, min rolled. The max was 50, the min was 45. I didn't calc this, but after the match I talked to Awesome Altaria, and he said I think I min-maxed right there. So 2 D-Gleams on this thing would have robbed it of about 60%, guaranteeing I could have killed it with basically anything that outsped it, such as my Lycanroc and my, with priority, and my Ninetales could have taken this thing down. So I really wish I had that. He Dark Pulses again. I let Claydol go down. In comes Ninetales to immediately threaten. I know that Registeel is going to come in here. It's going to be the switch in, but I'm still going to drop a Blizzard because I don't want to give Ragnarok here, the Thundurus, a free Nasty Plot in case he counter predicts me. I go for the HP Ground and expecting Registeel. Does nothing to this thing. He gets Nasty Plot and then he starts sweeping me because he is faster than me. So I'm going to go ahead and go for Blizzard. In comes the Ironworks like we saw. I had to make that play. It was a safe play. Does 13. He is lefty, so I know he's a very defensive Ironworks. I'm going to go into Muck here as basically a safe play. Muck has done its job at weaken the Latias. I just wish I had Claydol still. Like, letting Claydol go down there now looks kind of like a mistake. Having Muck here with 11%, I wouldn't have taken a Dark Pulse, but I think trading Muck versus trading Claydol would have been better in that situation with the Thundurus. Claydol still could have done some stuff for me, but it doesn't matter. We go ahead and go into Muck. He Earthquakes, which was a great play. It kills Muck, whereas an Iron Head might not have. I bring in Volcanion and immediately threaten. He goes into Autumn here. I Overheat to kill. Overheat would have killed the Specs. Overheat would have killed the Registeel, and I would have been able to basically, in my mind, at that point, I could have swept going through there. With Volcanion or Alolan Ninetales at that point, because I had forgotten about this little monster over here, the Blastoise, that is Scarfed. As long as I kept Volcanion healthy, I could have killed that. But in comes the Thundurus. Now here I had to really sit and think. It took me, when I was live, it took me about 5 minutes here to, but not 5 minutes, that's an exaggeration. It took me about 3 minutes here to sit here and talk about what I was going to do, think through it, because obviously he's going to drop a Thunderbolt on me. That's his best play. If I switch, because he knows I'm Scarfed, or Spexed, or something at this point, because I switched out last time, I have to, I was thinking, okay, if I switch, he gets a free Nasty Plot. I don't want this thing set up. If I stay in T-Bolt, it's a roll that I live. It does like 91, I think it did 89 to 96. So It was a roll as to whether or not I lived. He'd need near a max roll for me to not die. And I count it at 47%, even at -2 special attack. Overheat would kill this thing. I'm going to go ahead and stay in and overheat. He does T-Bolt. He takes me down 91%. I have 3% left. I'm living on a prayer. I go ahead and overheat. This thing goes down. I die to hail. In comes Cannonball. I don't have a switch in for this thing now. That was a mistake on my part. I should have gone into... Actually, I kind of had to, because I still need Darmanitan. Without Darmanitan, I can't break Ridge of Steel. Without Lycanroc taking serious damage. I could have gone into Lycanroc there. I could have taken the T-Bolt, Excel Rocked to kill the Thundy, revealed that I was banded, and then have to get out of there. Go back into Volcanion. If he brings Cannonball in and goes for a Water Spout, bring Volcanion in and heal. That right there was probably the sequence that I needed to play. Because then Volcanion sits in front of this thing, forces a switch. I go for Overheat on whatever, or Steam Eruption on whatever, and put major damage. Steam Eruption would kill the Gliscor at this range. Hitmonlee wouldn't have survived 2 Steam Eruptions. Ironworks would have not been happy to take a couple of those. I think that should have been my play there. Now that I think about it, post-comment, should have gone Lycanroc, because now that I've lost Volcanion, this thing being Scarfed can run through me. I don't have anything faster than it, so I go Darmanitan. And this here confirmed he was Scarfed, because I should have been faster than Blastoise. I was going to... I don't remember what my moveset was on this. I think I was Earthquaking this thing. Because Sheer Force Life Orb Earthquake would have taken it down to where, had it not been Scarfed, I could have come in and cleaned with... I could have come in and cleaned up with Ninetales to kill this. He'd be forced into Registeel. I'd go into Lycanroc, take the hit, Choice Band, Drill Run, kill Registeel, unless he brought Gliscor in. And then I'd have to let Lycanroc go down to Gliscor, bring in Ninetales, Hidden Power ground the Ironworks coming in, which would have taken it down to about that would have been its second Hidden Power ground from Ninetales. A third one would have killed it. Then in comes Gliscor, dies to Blizzard. In comes Hitmonlee, dies to Moonblast. That's how that would have played out, because this thing would have died. Yeah, instead I sacked off Volcanion, which was a mistake there. This proves he's Scarf now, so I don't have a check to this. I go ahead and bring in Ninetales. The way I had been playing Ninetales all game, though, I'm just going to scroll back up here to see where Ninetales came in the first time. I brought in Ninetales against his Ragnarok, went for the Blizzard, immediately switched out. And that's, yeah. So, whoops, sorry about that. I faked the Scarf early game, or that I was Spexed or something. I faked the Scarf, Specs, whatever it was. Early game with Ninetales, a Water Spout from this thing would not have killed me either, now that he's taken some chip. So I could very easily threaten with a Freeze Dry. I know that Ironworks is coming in. I went ahead and Moonblasted anyways, because Moonblast would have killed... I didn't have Freeze Dry, but Moonblast would have killed Blastoise from that range, especially since it's offensive Blastoise. Knowing that it's Scarfed and offensive, I could have killed with Moonblast there. I should have gone for the Earth Power I'm going to be forced to let Ninetales die here. I go for the Nasty Plot, just hoping that he goes for like T-Wave or something else to paralyze me, knowing that I can't OHKO or kill him with one hit. I Nasty Plot, there was really no point. I should have just HP Ground to hurt this thing even worse. At this point, I'm stuck with Choice Banded Lycanroc. If I Drill Run, then Gliscor comes in, Earthquakes, I die. If I Cell Rock, this thing doesn't die, I die to Iron Head. Blastoise being Scarfed comes in and just kills this thing. So I decide, you know, it's either going to be a 3-0 or a 4-0. It depends on what my opponent does here, if they go Gliscor or not. I'm going to go in. I'm a Drill Run. Kill that. The crit did matter, actually, because it was a roll without the crit. Registeel goes down. Now it's 3v1. I can't touch Gliscor, so I do lose this match. It was whether or not I lost as a 1-0, 2-0, or 3-0. Blastoise obviously comes in, is Scarfed, and it can clean, and that's exactly what we're going to see here. Is Cannonball comes in, fires off a Water Pulse or Water Spout, I die. Really didn't think to prep for Scarf Blastoise. That was not something I was expecting to come, and losing Volcanion basically allowed that thing to sweep. Definitely could have replayed this match a little differently. It's whatever, I'm learning. GG to Altaria. Well played game, well built team. I don't know what the Hitmonlee is because I never saw it, but that Scarfed Blastoise just really ran through me without Volcanion, and that was really good prep. Definitely misplayed on my part. It's a learning experience, like with earlier in the season, Necrozma clicking Calm Mind, or clicking Iron Defense when I should have clicked Calm Mind. Here, not going into Lycanroc to preserve my Volcanion just leads to, and I'm going to run the calc real quick just to double check that. So calc, damage calculator on Pokemon, Lycanroc. Let's see, this is Dusk. We were 252 in the attack stat. We were Adamant Nature, Choice Band, Cell Rock versus Thunderous. I'm gonna just assume he was the Nasty Plot set. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so that's what I knew was going to happen. So that's why I stayed Volcanion. I remember why I stayed Volcanion. I would lose Lycanroc if I stayed Volcanion, because even at base, like not Nasty Plotted or anything, Thunderbolt does 91 to 107. It's 50-50 as to whether or not it would kill me. Accelerock definitely killed Thundy at that point, but losing Lycanroc definitely was, in my mind, I guess, losing Lycanroc with that Registeel still on there versus losing, even though I had Earthquake on my Darmanitan and Flare Blitz on my Darmanitan, I think I prioritized keeping Lycanroc over Volcanion, which was a poor choice on my part, because had I just taken the T-Bolt, somehow lived if the T-Bolt, or if he'd Nasty Plotted, I killed with Accelerock. But he T-Bolted, I may have lived with Lycanroc, I would have killed with Accelerock. That was guaranteed. And then he could bring in Blastoise. I bring in Volcanion and absorb the water hit. Lycanroc's still alive. Can come back and Drill Run the Registeel. Yeah, okay. So guys, if you're watching to this part, and this goes back to what Connor and Shadow and several others have told me, is I'm learning. I'm still a rookie. I have no idea what I'm doing half the time. Take this as a learning experience and check your priorities. Don't forget about what you have in the back. because Earthquake Darmanitan could have handled Registeel, and there was no reason for Lycanroc really to stay other than to deal with Registeel and to deal with Thundurus, which I could deal with Thundurus with Ninetales. Actually, no, I couldn't. This thing's faster than Ninetales. And my Ninetales was Expert Belt. Ninetales, Alola. I'm pretty sure because +1s or +2 special attack. Okay, nope, never mind. I know exactly why I made the plays I did. Because had he nasty plotted. No, I'm wrong. I'm sorry, guys. See, this is where I get my own confusion. No reason, because even if he had nasty plotted, I had priority with Accelerock, and he would have had to kill me in order to lose Lycanroc, lose that priority. I bring in Ninetales. He can't nasty plot. He can't kill me with T-Bolt. He can chip me pretty hard, but he can't kill me, so he doesn't have the nasty plot set up. He doesn't sweep. That's where I got confused in my mind. I figured he was going to nasty plot and sweep me, but I have priority in Accelerock, yada, yada, yada. Take this as a learning curve. For me, don't make these mistakes. Remember what you have in the back. Manage your sacks. You're good to go. I could have won this game. It's whatever. GG, awesome Altaria. Hopefully you're back for Season 2, because obviously we're not playing in the playoffs. I'm not going to meet you in the playoffs, that sort of thing. But hopefully we can get a rematch sometime. With that, I'm going to get out of here, guys. Check out the links in the description down below. My Twitter, my Twitch, my Discord server. Check out Griffin Feathers, my amazing artist. And I will see you guys in the next one.